The following lesson is linked to Learning Outcome 3, Writing and Presenting. It addresses the assessment standard that requires learners to demonstrate planning skills for writing for a specific purpose, audience, and context. Learners should be able to decide on and effectively apply the appropriate style, point of view, and format of text.
Hello everyone, my name is Reno. In our previous lesson on writing appropriately, we looked at how to write effective and appropriate informal letters. In the next two lessons, we are going to focus on writing formal letters. Being able to write a formal letter is still a very important business skill. Whether it is written or typed, a formal letter can be used to complain about unacceptable service, order something, or thank a company for their generous contribution. As a working professional one day, you will need to know how to write many different types of business letters. In today's lesson, you will begin to learn this very important life skill. By the end of this lesson, you will know the correct format of a formal letter and be able to discuss various aspects of style suitable for formal letters. In our previous lesson, we looked at informal letters. Both formal and informal letters are types of transactional writing, which is writing for a specific purpose or function. Formal letters differ from friendly or informal letters in format, tone, and style. Now, who do we need to write to? Who do we need to write formal letters to? Well, formal letters can be written to managers, principals, editors, employees of a company, as well as any acquaintance you are not that familiar with. Why do you think that someone would write a formal letter? Well, formal letters are written to perform formal transactions, such as filing a complaint, requesting information, or stating a viewpoint. Formal letters are generally written to someone you don't know and have probably never met. This is why a more formal approach would be suitable. Also, if you want to make an impact and be taken seriously, a more formal approach is appropriate. Let's read a formal letter together. Dear Sir or Madam, complaint about time slot of Dear John. Since the beginning of this year, you have been airing the American sitcom Dear John at 1830 every Wednesday. I have no objections to the quality of the program. In fact, I look forward to it, it being one of the few reasons I still watch television. It is full of amusing characters, to mention a couple, Ralph and Kirk, who never fail to make my day. However, I do feel it is my duty to inform you of its decidedly sexual themes and, from time to time, jokes. There are not many pre-adolescents who have gone to bed by the time it starts, and I, therefore, appeal to you to move it to a more appropriate time slot. I had been meaning to write to you anyway, but yesterday evening, when one guest actor came on set naked and when he turned towards the camera, used a decorative plate to cover his private parts, I resolved to take a firm stand for the sake of our children. Clearly, such adult material is inappropriate viewing for them. With the faith that you are a person of high moral standards, I hope that you, in turn, will take an equally firm stand against the time slot of the otherwise much appreciated Dear John. Yours faithfully, Thabo Seseane. Wow, what an excellent letter. Fluent, interesting, forceful, and written by a fellow learner. Let's discuss it in some detail to see why it is so impressive. The first thing you need to know is the correct format for a formal letter for school. It is important that you set out your letter correctly. Look at all the business letters that arrive in your own home. You will notice that they do not always follow exactly the same format, but they are very similar. Find out from your teacher which format you need to follow. The format that our fellow learner has used is the most common. Your address, or the sender's address, and the date go here. It is written in block form just over halfway across the page. Remember, no punctuation is included in the address. The title of the person you are writing to is written against the left-hand margin on the line directly beneath the date. The name of the organization or business, or maybe even the school that you are writing to, is written here, followed by the full address with its own postal code. Remember to address the person formally. If you know the name of the person you are writing to, write Dear Mr. Whomever. If you don't know, write Dear Sir or Madam. Do not use punctuation. Also, leave lines between paragraphs. When the letter is addressed to a specific person, for example, Dear Mrs. Smith, sign off Yours sincerely. But if you begin the letter by saying Dear Sir or Madam, sign off with Yours faithfully. Remember to include your name beneath your signature. There are a number of key differences between the way that formal and informal letters are set out. It is important that you know how each type of letter is set out so that you don't lose marks for using the incorrect format in your assignments, and so that you can be confident you are using the correct setup when you write letters throughout your lives. I am sure you noticed that the formal letter contains both the sender and the recipient's addresses. This is a key difference between the formal and informal letter. Another difference is that the formal letter contains a heading. The heading ensures that the letter gets handed to the correct person and can easily be filed for later reference. Now, let's look at the content of this letter again. Take note of the style, the choice of words, and the way the content is set out. The first paragraph of a formal letter should give the recipient the necessary background information. Here, we are given the time frame. Since the beginning of this year, what has been happening? He has been airing the American sitcom Dear John at 18:30 every Wednesday. The writer does not just want to complain. So, in paragraph 2, he offers friendly praise. He looks forward to the program, says he finds it funny, and mentions that some of the characters make his day. But now he must get to the point. So in paragraph 3, the specific problems are raised. It's what he calls the program's decidedly sexual themes and the sexual jokes that he objects to. He points out that there are not many pre-adolescents who have gone to bed by the time it starts, and I therefore appeal to you to move it to a more appropriate time slot. So he moves straight from his complaint to what he wants the program organizer to do. Paragraph 4 explains why the writer was provoked to write at just this moment. He had been meaning to write anyway, but it was the nudity on the program that night before that made him write now. His argument is summed up at the end of the paragraph. Clearly, such adult material is inappropriate viewing for children. Finally, the writer repeats what he is asking for, but he does it in such a friendly way, complimenting the program organizer at the same time. He says that he is sure this person has high moral standards, and so you, in turn, will take an equally firm stand against the time slot of the otherwise much appreciated Dear John. What you have seen in this letter is a formula. It is a logical pattern that can be adapted to a number of situations where you may have to write a formal letter. Let's summarize the formula again, just to refresh your memories. 1. Describe the situation or background information. 2. State the message or main idea. 3. Include supporting details or statements. And 4. State what action you would like the recipient to take. Well, now that you are familiar with the correct format for setting out a formal letter, you can write one yourself. The example that we looked at today was a letter complaining about a television program. There must be a TV show that you don't like, or one that you think is shown at an inappropriate time. Write a formal letter to the program organizer of a television channel complaining about one of their programs. Try to follow the formula we discussed in this lesson. If you think your letter is successful, why not look up the correct address and mail it off? Be sure to catch our next lesson, where we will be examining formal letters in more detail. Till then, goodbye.
Like this.